Hello there everyone, welcome to one of my first review videos on the channel. I'm going to try a bit of everything and see what does the best so I can, I don't know, enjoy stuff more, I guess. That's a way of saying it. Anyway, so today we are reacting to Game Theory's Ultimate Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, I guess? I'm sorry. Before we begin, I just want to make sure I actually am recording. Okay, I am recording. So sorry. Anyways, so let's go here. And let's begin.
Today we end the torment. 19 books, 11 games, 8 whole years, all leading to this moment.
Yep.
The ultimate FNAF timeline is finally complete. The pieces are in place for us. Now all we have to do is put this story of tragedy, jealousy, and loss back together. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that feels like a kid revealing the class project that he's been working on all year. Except here, it's the class project that I've been working on for the past decade of my life. This one is big, my friends, and
I've watched Game Theory before, a lot, but I've barely watched the beginning part of the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline. So we're going to be watching this together. Me and my viewers, and I wonder who's watching this. Before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to JPHD Plays or something like that. Want to give a shout out to him. You'll see in the top, it's somewhere in the top, you'll get a exchange note or something for it. He helped me with my Minecraft video. You saw him in the Minecraft video. We were doing Minecraft and stuff. So yeah, with Minecraft video, go check that one out. There will be a link to it. Anyways, so let's continue. Sorry.
I admit, kind of nervous. I haven't attempted a timeline video on this franchise since 2018. Back in the days when Mike was the crying child, Afton coming back was actually a surprise, and Fazgoo wasn't a phrase I'd ever thought I'd have to utter. But since the last time I did something like this, we've had 3 more massive games, the death and revival of the FNAF movie, and more robot kids than you can shake a staff bot at. It is exhausting trying to
so many characters.
Keep track of this whole franchise.
Look at William Afton has like 4 forms. No, 5 forms counting original Springtrap. No, 6 forms counting Springtrap he did the murders in. But he's all. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know how many forms there are of William Afton at this point. Probably like 50 or something.
Which honestly is why I'm here today. The lore at this point is complicated. It is full of speculation and theory, so to hopefully make it a little easier for everyone and to give us all a baseline to talk about this franchise moving forward into the future, it's time to reveal my current working FNAF timeline. But just before I do, I just want to explain a couple of things. First, this timeline is massive. Seriously, it is huge. This thing towers over any video project we have ever done on the channel. But when you look at the totality of this franchise, the story of FNAF really boils down to the story of one man, William Afton. His successes, his failures, his rise to becoming co-owner of one of the most successful restaurant franchises in the world, and his eventual fall to the monsters he helped to create, only to then be reborn in a new digital form later. That's why I've decided.
So this just basically tells you the entire plot, so we can just watch this and make it a video. But we're not doing that. We're gonna watch the entire thing. Hopefully.
Timeline into 3 main chunks. The foundation of Freddy's, how the business started and how it came into being, the Afton era, William's decades-long murder spree, and post-Purple Guy. Basically modern FNAF. Everything that happens after the Pizzeria Simulator fire. And because there are lots of new big revelations in this thing that seemingly come out of nowhere, as well as just points I want to talk about further, I decided.
Okay, I'm gonna skip to here. Okay, just letting you know. Everyone, okay. So let's hope everything works. So, yeah, I can't wait to do this. Yummy popcorn. I don't have anything with me right now to eat. Who knows? Let's continue.
And make sure that you subscribe, since this is going to be a video that you're going to want to come back to a few times in order to fully dissect. Without
not
any
fully
more waiting,
dissecting,
I
by the
present
way.
to you the
Just letting
story
you
of a
know,
loving,
we're not fully
obsessive
dissecting.
father who slowly descended into madness, and along the way discovered the secret to eternal life.
His name is William Abston.
Our story begins not in the 1980s, or
Oh,
even in the
that's funny.
1970s, but all the way back in the 1930s. It was the throes of the Great Depression.
This is a kind of a bit absurd, because William's probably like 3, 4, like at this time. It's weird. It's very weird.
And people were in desperate need of cheap entertainment, especially in Utah, one of the states hit hardest, fourth highest unemployment in the nation and full of transients. People looking for work in Salt Lake, finding none, and ultimately moving on to find their fortunes out in California.
Okay.
People were tired and they were hungry, but as they traveled, there was one thing that could lift their spirits: a simple roadside attraction called Fredbear's Singin' Show. The ads were plastered all over town, featuring an animated bear drawn in the popular pie-eyed cartoon style for characters at the time. He resembled cartoons like Mickey Mouse, Felix the Cat, Betty Boop. It immediately said that this, Fredbear's, was a place where you could bring the family. And the price, honestly, couldn't be beat. For 50 cents, you could get food and entertainment as you watched the local trained real-life dancing bear perform on stage. Normally, you only got to see dancing bears at large traveling circuses like Barnum and Bailey, where the tickets would go for about $1. That's $1 without food. But this was a smaller show, like the type from the Vaughn Brothers or the Robbins Brothers, where tickets would sell for just a mere 50 cents. Watching that bear do tricks on stage brought a glimmer of joy at a time when so much was wrong with the world. The simple show would go on for years.
I love the editing. Like, look at that bear. They edited that very well. How much cutting and pasted did they use for that one? That's just my main question. How much cutting and pasting they used? William Abton, enjoy your life.
Bringing happiness to hundreds of travelers passing through looking for a quick meal. But it left a permanent impression on one little boy, capturing his imagination in a way that nothing else had. One little boy named Billy. That was his nickname at least, but his parents liked to call him William Afton. The bear could dance, it could sing. For decades, William dreamed of...
So if William is like, per se, 5, when he gets inspired, that makes him like 35 in the 60s. So isn't that when he makes the first suit?
recreating
or
that moment of
something?
bringing a musical bear to life, but how? William was smart, without a doubt, and he had a keen mind for business, but he wasn't the most creative. How do you make a singing, dancing bear come to life? The best he could do was using
Sorry.
rudimentary costumes. William was inspired by the work of Walt Disney, who throughout the 50s and 60s was pioneering the use of mascot suits throughout his theme park. The big innovation? Suits with 5 fingers. This allowed the performers wearing the suits to use their natural arms and hands to interact with the guests.
Unlock
Aw,
your full
dang
creative
ads.
potential. Go to fxhome.com now and download the only video editing software you'll ever need.
Maybe I should use this. WeVideo's being a bit strange.
With a simple interface and all the editing tools right at your fingertips, your voice will finally become your content.
What? This is an interesting ad, but WeVideo is just better, I guess, in my opinion. Skip. Hurry up. Got a video to react to.
As opposed to the older models where the arms would just hang limply by their sides. Finally, with a simple mascot suit, he would be
I thought someone broke their arms. Maybe that's why. Their arms were limp. That's what my dad says.
able to realize his childhood dream. He would be able to bring Fredbear to life. To appeal to the kids, and for copyright reasons, he changed Fredbear from a realistic brown animal to a cartoonish yellow bear with a purple hat and bow tie. But feeling like one character wasn't enough, he added another friend, a yellow rabbit with a purple vest and matching tie named Bonnie the Bunny. While Fredbear was certainly his first love, Bonnie was extra special because that was his. It was an original character that he had created from scratch. And I do mean scratch. William's hand-sewn costumes were rough with seams and stitches visibly showing, but it was the best that he could do. And you know what? It was just enough. Bonnie and Fredbear would
boy.
perform on stage to small but enthusiastic crowd.
Glitchy boy. Okay, so this guy, Glitchy Boy, aka Bonnie, Golden Bunny. I love him. I love Golden Bunny. He's so cool. Fredbear, Chomp Chomp. That's all I have to say about him.
cartoons. Finally, he was able to
Foreshadowing,
deliver
maybe.
fantasy
You know?
and fun to all the kids, delighting and inspiring them in the exact way that he had been delighted and inspired so many years ago. And things could have ended there. That could have been the end
What
to his
the
story. It
fudge
could have been
is this?
perfect had it not been for one thing. Other people saw the success of his idea and they wanted in. Enter Chica's Party World, a rival restaurant starring performing animal characters. His
Is he seriously bringing Chica's Party World into time? I thought that thing was like retcon and non-canon years ago, but apparently not.
idea, except they did it better. William may have been the first,
This
but
is
obviously
insane.
he wasn't the best. It
The
hurt
animation
the prideful
just-
William Afton to admit it, but this
Imagine the
restaurant
editing.
was able
God.
to do the thing that
Took
he
me a
always
mo-
wanted
probably
to do.
take me
Make
a
the
month
animals
to make
actually
this.
come to life. All of the performers in this restaurant were robots, simple metal skeletons that were
That's
powered
sweet.
by
That's very
battery
sweet.
packs, but all of them able to freely
Very,
turn
very
and talk
sweet.
and dance on their own, no human required. It was like magic. Magic that came
Dang.
from the mind of a brilliant creator named Henry Emily. This Henry, in some small way, had been able to harness the power of life itself. Afton admired him. He was jealous, to be sure, but he also looked upon this man with awe. Off to one side of Chica's Party World was a small cabaret stage featuring an elephant magician. On the other, a hippo known to ramble on and on. That one was more of a joke for the parents, but it was the main stage that was for the kids. A rocking band of characters featuring a
You get it? Because the kids ramble a whole lot. You know? Kids rambling makes a lot of sense.
yellow chicken thing with a southern drawl named Chica, backed by a band of other country-themed characters, including a pig with a banjo, an upbeat frog from the local swimming hole, and a brown bear with a heavy southern accent. Wait, a bear? But bears
Huh?
were his
Sorry.
animals. Why not a cow or a horse? Something to fit the country theme a bit better. Why'd it have to be a
Ooh.
bear? And adding
Mocking,
insult to injury,
mocking,
they had the nerve to
mocking.
call this thing Ned Bear, a direct copy of his own Fred Bear.
Whoops, that's gonna leave a mark.
No,
I
that was
agree.
not okay. Afton's jealous admiration turned to hardened bitterness. A bitterness that would only grow over the next couple of years as families continued to choose Chica's Party World over Fred Bear's. William just couldn't compete with the appeal of the robots. Eventually, his restaurant would go bankrupt, only to get bailed out by, of course, Henry Emily. Another insult, another humiliation that William wouldn't soon forget. 1979. Despite being bitter, Afton couldn't deny that what came next was a period of massive success and expansion. With the two franchises now merged into one,
so
it was the best of
happy.
both worlds. Afton's ideas with Henry's robotic expertise. The two men decided to launch under a new name, Fredbear's Family Diner, a pizza chain that would eventually come to feature a mix of humans in performing suits as well as on-stage animatronics. They decided to stick with Fredbear as the headliner, considering the yellow bear was easily identifiable as a brand and because he was the original performing animal mascot. Afton appreciated that. This new restaurant would also see a mix of characters as the two franchises merged into one, with Pig Patch and Happy Frog performing right alongside Fredbear and Bonnie. And as part of this one big Fredbear family, they even got themselves official merch that were released, ranging from masks to magnets.
The crappy Mr.
Hippo
Hippo
fridge magnet?
That said, not all the characters were winners. The reception to some
Wait.
characters was just mediocre. So
Oh, you get it? Mediocre? These are the mediocre melodies. That's something I know. How do I... Subtitles. Okay, I turned the subtitles off.
they
Makes
faded
stuff
away
a
into
lot
the
easier.
dumpster, storage units, and retro budget tech stores of lost nostalgia, waiting for their chance to step back into the limelight if and when a headliner went out of commission. Others,
Freddy
though, would
Fazbear.
fare much better, like a new Pirate Fox, as well as a blue guitar-playing variant of the yellow Bonnie Bunny. Ultimately, the franchise would get so
Looks like
big, it would
he's-
spawn its own cartoon
Looks like
show,
he's-
Fredbear and Friends. Business was booming. In the end, Fredbear and Bonnie's popularity would be
Okay.
so strong that they would be able to support the Fredbear's Family Diner franchise all on their own, while also spinning off a new sister location dedicated to their friends. In 1983, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza launched, giving a dedicated home to all this new supporting cast of characters. Chica the
Yo.
Chicken, Bonnie the Blue Bunny, Foxy the Pirate, and of course the headliner, a brown Freddy Fazbear. Business was good,
Fazbear.
and Afton was happy, mostly. It did bother him that the one original character that he created, the one that he himself played, Golden Bonnie, got passed over for inclusion in that cartoon show. The only character in the roster of regulars to get ignored for the show, but other than that, things were going smoothly. He had himself a wife, 2 sons, a daughter, he had a thriving business,
Sorry,
and
I'm
best
just
of all, he was
measuring
able
how
to
much
learn
is
the craft
left.
of robotics from
I'm
the man
so
that he
very
both loved
sorry.
and hated, Henry. Together, they were constantly pushing the limits of what these characters could do. Because it was quick and easy, new characters introduced into the roster would be given a simple hand-sewn suit with 5 fingers that any performer could wear. Eventually, Henry would design one of his signature animatronics for that character, utilizing
Okay.
a divided mouth with either a hinged or sliding jaw design.
Huh.
This was the first generation
That
of
makes sense.
animatronics.
That makes
but
sense.
why stop there? Afton had big ideas. What if
Big
the animatronics
ideas.
weren't just locked to the stage, but could
Big
freely roam the
eye-
restaurant and interact with the kids? What if
That's
his
a good
mascot
idea,
suits
like-
could become animatronics? What if you could use more than just rigid metallic skeletons? Why not experiment with tubes and wires that would give the animatronics fluidity and flexibility while still providing structure? The possibilities for this technology were endless. Afton fell in love with robotics. He had started with a dream of bringing one simple singing bear to life, but with robots, he had stumbled across the tools that gave him the ability to control life itself. And thanks to Henry, he was practically
Oh, this is so
speedrunning his way
funny.
to an engineering degree. And while William wouldn't admit it out loud, one other thing that kept pushing him forward was the desire to beat his former rival, to prove himself smarter and more capable, to surpass the man who everyone else considered to be a visionary genius.
I'm sorry,
but
the
pride cometh before the
animation
fall.
is of it. Whoever did this, visionary genius. I love the editing. Look at that pencil. It's so nice. I love these eyes. Oh my god. I've only seen like a couple other videos on this Fury channel. I love watching him sometimes though.
And tragedy was about to strike. Okay, so that brings us to the end of part 1 of the story. That said, at the end of each of these chunks, I want to break down some of the
So that brings us to the end of the video, I guess. I guess we'll watch a bit more. Just a tad bit. But let's watch a bit more. Okay.
logical leaps that I made, since the more narrative format doesn't
Yeah,
give me much of a
we
chance
get
to
it, we get it.
justify
Yeah,
a
we
lot
get
of the
it.
big decisions. And admittedly, there are some large leaps in here. Let's just start off with Fredbear's Singin' Show, shall we? We know, based on the retro poster that was hidden in Security Breach, that at least at one point, Fredbear was an actual bear. And like I called out in that narrative segment, dancing bear shows were a real form of entertainment. The only problem
Yeah.
is that, timing-wise, none of our main characters would be the people in charge of that business in the 30s and a series of pizza restaurants in the 80s without him just being extremely old. Best case scenario, if Afton's running the Singin' Show when he's 18, that still puts him at nearly 70 when the first pizzeria opens and his murder spree begins. That just doesn't make a lot of
Yeah.
logical sense because he doesn't become immortal until his first death in Springtrap. That's why I suspect that Fredbear's Singin' Show was either a family business that Afton then carried on to a new generation, or something that he saw as a kid and just wanted to recreate when he grew up. The
I think
Fredbear
the
Singin' Show thing also starts laying the groundwork for some of the
I think the recreation one that he wanted to recreate, I think that's the most accurate one. But I wonder what would have happened if his mom, like, found out that he murdered all of those people. That kind of might have just been a bit funny to see. That would have been really funny. I'll make a short about that maybe. Anyways, continue.
core elements of the story. That Freddy's was a place of fantasy and fun, and that Afton,
Yeah.
despite eventually falling to become the heartless serial killer and mad scientist that we know him as, began as someone with good intentions and a love of entertaining kids.
Well, I guess we'll stop here for today. This was me. We had a video, and there was a bug on my computer. That's how we'll end this.